Hey everyone, welcome to my review and critique of the new Sims 3 store set, which is Dreams of India. And it was released today, Thursday, I was gonna look this up. Thursday, August 15th. And right now it is on sale for 1,350 SimPoints, which is, as you know, $13.50. And then it will go back up to retail price in a week, and I believe that's going to be $15, but I'm not sure. The set contains 27 items, and we're going to get into all of those, and we're going to address the cast and all of that. But what I'd like to do is kind of give some context for this, because, you know, when you do the tutor sets and all of these things, it's a little bit different than doing something that represents real life fashion of a current era. It's a little more touchy, you know what I mean? So this set is intended to complete, or, you know, at least fill out the Indian inspiration set that came out last year. And my initial thoughts on this is kind of like, well, you know, these store sets are so expensive, why didn't we just have the entirety? But that's old news. That's something that we talk about frequently. Sorry, I bit my tongue. This is something we've talked about frequently in these store sets, and honestly, I'm going to tell you right out of the gate right now, if you don't want to watch the rest of this, and you want to know how I feel, I'm going to tell you I love this set, but I think it's overpriced. And that's pretty much my verdict. That is a little, not even a little, it's definitely overpriced. But I do love the set, and I do think that the items were gorgeous. I just feel like some sort of premium content included would have been a little more reasonable, but you know, these items are well researched and all that, and we'll get into that. But firstly, I do want to talk about just a few things. If you're not familiar with Indian culture, this will kind of inform why the fashion is the way it is, or at least how it came to be that way. India is a fantastically and richly diverse part of the world. It's actually the Republic of India, and they earned their independence from the UK administration in 1947. They are the seventh largest country by area, the second most populous in the world, home to a staggering 1.2 billion people, and they are the most populous democracy in the world. Now, referring to the UK rule, India itself, when the British actually arrived there, in the early 18th century, it was very, very slow, but the East India Trading Company, which was, you know, British, and they had reached India itself, they very slowly started to annex the country, and by the mid-19th century, essentially they had taken over the entire thing, and the nation was under British rule. Now, this did some interesting things with their culture. It's actually sort of, it informs a lot of these clothing items, because like one item in particular is actually sort of a marriage of a traditional garment with a British frock coat. So it's a men's item, and we'll actually get to that. But yeah, it's formed some really sort of complex things. Like, if you're not familiar with the caste system, in India, for a very, very long time, there are groups of individuals who, they're basically long lines of people who are in different, basically trades, and also different levels of wealth. The caste system essentially sets up a strict stratification in society. And the caste system itself is actually starting to break down in urban areas, but it still exists in more rural ones, to the point where it's actually, in some places, it's quite traditional. But what the caste system sort of does is it incurs endogamy, which is basically you want your your descendants to marry within your particular social or religious group. So because it was broken up in terms of wealth and division of labor and just power and status and all of that, it's a very, very complex thing. But what the British rule did was it made it so you couldn't actually marry a blood relative or someone in your immediate family. Now, don't judge. I mean, this is how a number of countries have done it for a number of years. But, the British rule, the laws basically said you can't marry immediately within your family, which forced a lot of these tightly knit groups to intermingle, and so it became even more muddled from there. And even today, caste doesn't even truly have a really traditional or even clear definition. There is, hang on a second, I have it written down. Okay, yes, there is an Indian philosopher. He's a historian and anthropologist, and he was also a politician. And his name is B.R. Ambedkar. He was at the lowest rung of the caste system, known as an untouchable, and he broke through, and he became this sort of voice and all of that, and he's a very fascinating guy. But his definition of the caste system is a group that tries to impose endogamy in an exogamous population. So basically that means that the caste system is trying to maintain this long-held idea of marrying within your social status and your particular group and your religion and all of these things, but that isn't always conceivable. So the caste system is really, it's trying to achieve that, but has really started to break down in a number of areas. And this is all very important to talk about, and I'm definitely gonna start talking about the clothes really soon. But it informs a lot about this rich culture. There are just so many complexities, way more than I could even come close to touching on in a video like this, especially with my limited experience. I mean, I know a bit about it, but definitely not enough. So I just wanted to put it into context, as you know I like to do in my videos. As I said, this set contains 27 items, which is including 11 buy items, 3 build items, 10 clothing items, 1 men's hairstyle, and 2 women's hairstyles. I'm actually going to come out with it right now and say that there are no shoes, like you just heard me say what's in it. There are no shoes. There is nothing for toddlers, there is nothing for teens, and there is nothing for elders. And this is my first issue right there. We can't be, I mean, it's like, I feel like they've really, I'm going to tell you now, I feel like they've really gone out of their way to give you an idea of a sort of a broader spectrum of different styles and things like that from the different areas, and it's important to note, well, I'll talk about that later, but I feel like they have gone out of their way to make these things sort of as accurate as possible, but while it's an amalgam of sort of Western style with traditional style, which is something that you're actually seeing in India today. So I feel like they have gone out of their way to make this set work and be really interesting. But it's almost impossible to fill that out without shoes and more than 2 hairstyles. And what if I want to dress my toddler in Indian attire? I mean, there are these, I can't even remember what they're called. I looked them up earlier. These adorable little dresses that very young Indian girls wear. Just so cute. I think people would actually really like to see them in the game, because they're just these little sort of conical skirts with a little tunic top. So adorable. But that's not something that's being included, and like I said, teens are left out, and it's very difficult to adapt adult clothes for the teens, and then elders are left out. So I'm definitely a little more than bummed about that. So let's actually get into the cast stuff. Alright, so if you do not remember Parvati from my Aurora Sky series, this is Parvati, and basically in the LP, she is actually from India. She's my girl, I love her. So she's modeling this for us because she wears traditional garb in her in Aurora skies, and it looks great on her. So this is the jeweled kurta. Kurta, it's basically, it started off as a Persian word meaning collarless shirt, but it is sort of mutated over time. And this is obviously meant to have tremendous amounts of Western influence, but usually it's just like a collarless shirt. But this is, obviously, you can see an adaptation of that where it has the buttons, and it is stitched. A lot of times, Indian clothes are unstitched cloth, and that gives it also a very distinctive look. And these shoes are from the store. I can't remember what they're from, but I feel like they go with a lot of these things, and I just recolor them. So if you have the points to buy these shoes, go ahead, but I'm just going to say right now, it's crappy if you have to. And they don't really have a ton of truly traditional options, so I basically just go with what looks the best, and it has, like, a lot of gold and all that. So, enough said. But I feel like this hangs well. You can recolor it. The jewels do look quite two-dimensional, but not to its detriment. And the shading is very good. I feel like it lies really, really well, and it doesn't have that super awkward opening in the back that you see with a lot of things. I think they're really starting to shine in terms of making things look even more realistic. So we're going to go to our second outfit. So this outfit was particularly problematic because I had to take out my default skin tone in order to replace it with the non-anatomical version, because this top, and this is a spoiler alert for you, it is meant to be sheer, but they're probably assuming that you don't have skins with nipples on them. You can see her nipples through the top if you have the anatomical version, which is why I switched it. I'm comfortable with nudity in any way, shape, or form, but honestly, I have a lot of younger viewers, and some people are just flat out uncomfortable with breasts. So there we go. And, honestly, I think it's cool that they went ahead and actually tried to make it as sheer as possible. It's just unfortunate that I had to change the skin out in order to do it, so if I'm going to use this in like an LP, it's going to be a little more complicated. But for the moment, this is a nip-free zone, so hopefully that's okay with you, because it's going to have to be for the moment. Now, the top itself is called the Charming Choli. The choli is usually, it's like a band that's worn underneath the sari, I believe. That's what I read, yeah. And because a sari is actually just one lengthy piece of cloth. So even though, the women who wear them are probably just experts at keeping them on, honestly, it's there to, make sure that you're not having any wardrobe malfunctions. Yeah, I can't talk. Okay. Now, the skirt itself is called a lenga, which means that this isn't actually a sari, because it's not, like I said, it's not one lengthy piece of cloth. A lenga is a skirt which is conical, and it usually has some sort of facing or wrap here. So what you have is the facing, and the beading on the top looks really two-dimensional to me, but I like it. But on the skirt, it just shines. That beading with the specular layer on top looks so realistic. It's shaded very, very well. And the skirt, the drape has quite a bit of definition, and I think it looks really fantastic. Now, what typifies a lenga is that not only do you have the skirt and the facing that keeps it up, but you also have a lengthy piece of cloth like this one that wraps around and through the band. So I think, oh man, I'm just so impressed with this. It looks fantastic. Now, these actually come color coordinated. I did not have to recolor them. In fact, I don't think I had to recolor anything other than the shoes that I've been having her wear. Now, back to what I was saying about how the caste system and everything else affects the clothing. Well, the interesting thing is it's much like in my Tudor review where I was talking about people in certain social circles only being allowed to wear certain things. That goes for the caste system. People from the lower strata are not allowed to wear certain things that people from the upper strata are. And some people, like different families, have traditional colors, different local castes have different colors, and that like sort of typify their region or their family. And so it's kind of like like a Scottish tartan. You have these things that represent your heritage. Well, that affects how people in India dressed for a very, very long time, and in fact into now. But like I said, in the urban areas, the caste system is breaking down a little bit, so people are able to, well, even more, people are able to wear westernized clothes mixed with Indian clothes, and they're able to just wear mostly what they want and what they can afford. So that's something to take note of. That influences the clothing quite a bit. Now, what we have here is the Sublime, yeah, that's what it is. It's the Sublime Salwar Kameez, and kameez is a tunic top with pants underneath. Their pajamas. That's where it comes from. So the kameez is usually a pajama underneath a kameez, a tunic top. But yeah, they're generally in this shape. They're for males and females, and it's just a difference in sort of cut and style between the two. Now in this instance, I love the sheer netting. I really love the fit of this. I feel like it's going to look fantastic on a sim of any given weight. The detailing here is just incredibly beautiful. It really, really is. I am actually very, very fond of this. I like the drape of the pants. The pants go in at the ankles, which is accurate, and it's just so delicate. It looks like she's so comfortable. A lot of the fabrics they would use would be like silks and linens and chiffons, things like that. Just really, really gorgeous, fantastic, bang up job, guys, because this is beautiful. If you don't like the color, just recolor it. You can create a style, but I love these colors together. I think it looks amazing on her. Alright, so we've got one more thing to cover on her. Here we have her formal wear. Now this is actually the only item that can be worn as formal wear, and that bothers me a little bit. Because there are some items which can only be worn as formal wear based upon societal mores and things like that. But in general, I feel like the sameez is sometimes worn in traditional sense, depending on, I don't know. It really sort of depends on the situation, and I've it's just, in my opinion, I think some of the things should be available for formal wear, but maybe they're being more accurate that way. Now this, firstly, the dress is the sheer kurta, and a thing of note is that this one doesn't show the nipples if you have the anatomical version, so yay. The detailing on this is actually quite fantastic as well. You can clearly see that it looks like embroidery. It's shaded very well. It fits her very well. This here with the with the lotus flower, and then where the netting goes up to the upper thigh, it's just beautiful, and it doesn't have the creepy slit in the back. I just love it. I'm gushing right now, but I do love this stuff so much. Indian design is literally some of my favorite in the world. Alright, so let's address the hair. The hairstyle we have here is called the Celebration Mang Tika, and it is obviously quite ornate. Now this is, I'm guessing, meant to be some sort of lacquered lace. That would be my assumption. Or, some sort of woven, delicate material. But I'm going to say sort of a lace-like thing. But I can't be positive because I'm not super familiar with this hairstyle. I'm actually surprised just how much I like this. Because I usually don't like a lot of stuff going on my Sim's head. But I think it's really fantastically beautiful. Now, I recolored this in order to suit the outfit because what I'm trying to do is, like I said, stick with the specific colors so that it at least goes more in line with if this sim were a member of a specific cast, she would be sporting their colors essentially. To put it in a sort of very, very relaxed way. Oh man, down at the wrist you can see there's this delicate sort of embroidery and banding. Really gorgeous, really, really special. And yeah, I just noticed that. And then yeah, the hair. I genuinely like this, and I feel like if when I use items from this set, I'd be happy to use this. Now we're gonna actually look at the second hairstyle. It's gonna load up because she's wearing exactly the same thing, so it should only take a second. All right, so as you can see, she's wearing exactly the same outfit, but this is a different hairstyle. Come on, and the lag is murdering me. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Get closer. Don't be shy. I love this hairstyle on her. This is, oh man, she looks so beautiful. Okay, so this is the Magnificent Mantica. And as you can see, it is much simpler. It is something that would still be, it's still very ornate, but it's something that you'd more likely see a woman wearing on a regular day, you know, depending on what she was doing. And yeah, this one I also recolored to match the stone type, but it's just, oh man, just the way it hangs and the way it looks, and the detailing on the hair actually looks very, very good. The hair is not looking as much like a helmet these days. They're really going out of their way to add these little wisps and just these parts down here which look much more realistic, and the bun has a little bit of a loose texture, and I just really, really like it. I can't say it enough. I sound like a moron, but I really like it. Okay, so on to the next sim. So here we have our male model, and this is Omar. I made him specifically for this. He is not actually a sim that I've used in anything, but I do like him, so I might. And right now he's wearing the Lucknowi Sherwani. And that is, when I mentioned that there are articles of clothing which are a marriage of traditional Indian or South Asian articles of clothing, or Southeast Asian. South Asian. I think I'm having a stroke here or something. I'm just like totally not with it. But anyway, basically, this is it's a combination of the it's a combination of the shalwar kameez, which is like I was talking about before. It's a tunic style top, but it's also mixed with the British frock coat, so you can actually see that influence here with the collar added and just the way that it hangs. But yeah, it's usually over some sort of pajama, which in this case has embroidery and beading on the bottom, which I think they did a great job with. They once again, it didn't come with traditional shoes, so I just had to work with what I had. So those are just shoes from university, comfortable, flat-looking shoes. And it has the embroidery at the wrists, the scarf. I think all of it hangs really, really well. If you don't like the colors, you can recolor it, although I'm pretty sure you can't recolor the jewels. You cannot. So if you're not okay with the green and the orange, I'm sorry. Now, one thing you can do is purchase items from the set individually, because it doesn't have any premium content or anything like that. So you can go ahead and separate out the pieces if you really, really want to. Okay, we're going to load up his second outfit, and it really shouldn't take very long. So this is it's called the Dazzle Dhoti Kurta, and it is it's just, oh, I love it. So it's a kurta on top with embroidery, as you can see, and a symmetrical bias cut breast, essentially, and a collar. It's, oh man, it's so beautiful. And then you have the wrapped belt, and the dhoti part is this down here. It's an unstitched piece of cloth which is wrapped around the waist, and it's, you know, would resemble a skirt in Western society. And you can even see that it hangs as though it's unstitched. I really think they did a very, very good job with that. And I like this a lot. I think he looks pretty fantastic. Now we're going to look at the other items. This has the men's hairstyle, which is called the pleasing pagri. Pagri is essentially a word for a turban. This one is more ornate with jewel. Some of them are much more relaxed. It depends on the region. It depends on the type. There are lots of types. I'm not going to list them all. I highly encourage you, if you're interested in using this hairstyle, to actually do some research into turbans, because I find turbans really, really fascinating, just because they're so versatile and used in so many interesting ways, and I think they're so cool. So if you want to read about turbans, I highly encourage you to read about turbans. So as I said, that is the pleasing pagri, and that is recolored to match the stunning sherwani. And again, we're dealing with a sherwani, which is meant to look like a British frock coat, and you can see those influences. He even has a cravat. Now, I did not recolor this actual outfit. I think it's really beautiful. I can't go on enough about how much I love it. The embroidery detail is quite lovely, and the way that it I'm not going to go into, I want to try to be concise, but let me just say I like it. So let's take a look at the next sim. So our little pal here is Naveen, and he is currently wearing the 3-button sherwani, which again, we have another sherwani. Essentially it's type of formal wear. As you can see, it's embroidered. It looks very 3-dimensional. And the beading, again, is a little 2-dimensional, but I think the embroidery itself and the other details look very real. They're doing a great job with these types of buttons. It looks really fantastic. This is not recolored. I did have to give him just regular shoes. Enough. No shoes. They don't give us shoes. Never. We're never gonna get shoes in a store set. So I think it's time to, put the stick down, because that horse is so dead. Alright, so back to the outfit. As you can see, it looks great. I think it'll look good on pretty much any kid. But it's a beautiful natural color. The material just looks amazing. The specular layer isn't too shiny. It's pretty. It's pretty freaking awesome. So let's look at the next sim. Now, if you don't remember Verity from my Aurora Skies LP, this is Verity. She is Parvati's daughter in that particular LP, and she is rocking the Punjabi kurta pajamas. So yeah, you know what a kurta is by now. So yay! It's got this. I'm not sure what the Indian word for it is, but the Spanish word is a bolero. Essentially, that's what we would probably know it as in Western society, because that's the word they use in fashion. You have, another thing about a kurta is that there are often exposed buttons, which is really sort of interesting. Well, not even buttons, exposed clasps. So as you can see, it's closed here, but you can see the clasps, and I think that looks really, really nice. That's a very nice detail. The embroidery looks fantastic. This isn't recolored. The colors look amazing. I like it. I do. I like all the stuff from this. I can't say enough. I just love it. And then these shoes are from, I want to say, the nautical sets, maybe? No, I don't think so. Wasn't the nautical set just... Yeah, it was just other items. I don't remember what this was from, but they're there, and they're recolored as red. So there you have it. They are from the store, though. So as far as build by objects go, you get 3 build objects. The first one is this, and these are recolored to match the room. They actually come in a more mottled sort of finish, but they're very nice, no matter what. You just basically have a shuttered window you can see from the... No, not from the outside, because the walls aren't up. I'm special. There we go. You see there are shutters. They're very long windows. I very much enjoy windows which are full length. I think that it fills out a room nicely. and in most circumstances is needed, but without actually any store or custom content is difficult to achieve. So yeah, before nightlife it was, yeah, or late night. Oh man, nightlife, that was The Sims 2. The other window you get is this one, and it has a filigree sort of pattern in the glass. It's very delicate looking. It's just, I love it. I love it so much. And then there is this door with the carving. Now this, the camera issues, this type of design element here and along here is called an egg and dart. So I think that detail is very, very special, and it also has the ridged molding down here, additional egg and dart, and traditional carvings. It's just, yeah, and even these rivets here, I don't even know if, I think they're probably rivets, but they might just be areas of additional carving in the door. Not positive, but I think that they did a great job with these. Now, those are called the Jolly single door, that's this, the Mughal window, which is this friend here, and the Mughal shutter window. Now, when you have like Mughal or Jolly or Bangalore, that's essentially referring to a region. The Punjabi pajama that Little Verity is wearing, that's referring to a region. So just so you know, for your edification. Now, the buy objects you get are here, and yeah, I put them out. And this is recolored. This actually comes in either plain or with a pattern on it, and the pattern is really cool, but I felt like it was a little too busy and you wouldn't be able to actually get an idea of what it really looks like. It's just a typical partition, but it has this very nice detail at the top with an inlay of what looks like some sort of stone or exotic wood. And I think it just looks fantastically beautiful. Then you have, and that's actually called, what's it called? I wrote all this down. I wrote it down. Yes, the Punjab partition. So again, like I said, we're referring to different regions here. Then this is the Mughal floor lamp, and it looks like a flower, a lotus flower. It's very beautiful. This is the Bandrasi end table, and this is what it actually looks like. This is also what the lamp actually looks like. And this is the Bandrasi desk, and it has this glass top with a really intricate inlay, and these it's probably either like an iron or a leather finishing here. I'm gonna go with iron. And then this would be another type of inlaid wood, and I just love all of the little details on this. I think they did a pretty freaking good job, like I said. This chair is the Bangalore chair. Oh, and this has been recolored. Hang on, I'm gonna... Oop. There we go. Now we can see. Has been recolored, but the pattern is exactly the same. It's got a really nice sort of red pattern. But I don't know. I wasn't as fond of that pattern, so I recolored it, but I probably shouldn't have. Let's go into buy mode and take a really quick look. Sort by function. Oh, it's under dining chairs. Look how many chairs I have. So many chairs. There we go. This is what it looks like traditionally. I recolored the wood too to match the room, but I do. Actually, you know what? I do. I like that. We're gonna go with it. We're gonna go with it. The floor wasn't red before, which is why I changed it. Okay. So, actually, I can show you what the other partitions look like. That's the original one. We'll keep it on that. And then this is the one with the pattern of traditional dance, which I think is really well done. It looks beautiful. So let's see. This table, come here. This table actually comes in 3 color presets, which I love. Really, really cool. And it is the Bangalore dining table. And the chairs are the Bangalore high back chairs. And as you can see, they're very sort of luxurious with the wrapped upholstery. and they look like an unfinished wood. A lot of these things have either lightly lacquered or unfinished wood that's just been sanded, and I think that makes these items look particularly special. There is an item which I could not find. It is the Indian cloth star, which would, it's basically a tapestry. In a standard situation, would be a tapestry that was made from star cloth, but I can't find it. And I know there are probably other reviews where people were able to find it, so I'm very sorry. But we're going to take a look. Let's angle it up. We're going to take a look at these lights. Hi there. I think this light actually looks pretty freaking cool. It's the Mughal lamp. I just to say, it's the Mughal cone light, and it's very large, but it's really, really pretty, and it would go well with the starlights that came with the original set. And then here you have the dual hanging lamps. We're going to talk about those in a second. And then here you have, I believe that these are the Bangalore ceiling lights. Yes. So the only object that I could not find was that wall object. I think it's a wall object. I just couldn't find it. So I'm sorry about that. Now, the issue I have found with this particular dual light is that, look at this, it creates a pathing error where the light is. Yes, it does, and I'm pretty unhappy about that because I'm not going to use it if it creates a pathing error. Let's say I want this sim to go right here. Watch what she does. There we go, all the way around. All the way around, baby girl. And there we are. It has a pretty significant and egregious pathing error, which is probably just a screw up and can be easily fixed, but not until it's patched. Not until another patch, because that's how patches work. So, yeah. Not jazzed about that particular thing, but, you know. Now, the reason I didn't include anything from the original India inspirations or inspirations of India, I can't remember. I didn't include anything from those sets. And the reason why is because I feel like it's going to mislead you in terms of how much you get. What you get does not fill a room that completely. You get this chair, you get this desk, you get this table, you get this chair, this lamp, this light, these two floor lamps, this table, the windows, the door, and then the wall object, which is like essentially it's just a tapestry. It goes on the wall, and it's really cool. It's got a circle with a star. It's hotness. It's not like a 5-point star. It's a more traditional star. Really cool, but yeah, you don't get all that much. So I didn't want to mislead you by putting any of the other stuff in here, although it's okay. I mean, if you look at the room that Sims VIP set up, it's beautiful. It looks really beautiful, and it highlights what you can do. But I really kind of want to show you here what you can't do. If you don't have that set, you have this, which is something that needs to be filled out. So essentially what has been done here is that they're offering this set to fill out a set which was already released, as you know. But then if you get this one and don't have that one, then you're really sort of required to get that one if you want to fill things out a little bit more. And, you know, that's just how it works. That's just how it is. And you end up having to make a choice. Now, there are those complete your set discounts. This is not eligible for that right now, but the older set is eligible. And you can buy those items individually. You can pick and choose what you like, which is a good thing because this word that I've used before is coming back, specificity. This is a highly specific set. You can use a lot of these things in other parts of your game, even if you just want a sort of worldly feel and you want a little bit of Indian splash for a different type of decor, you can use these things. Awesome. But the clothing itself, the hair, highly specific. If you can't figure out what you would use these for, don't spend the money. Just don't. but I like this set. So, like I said in the beginning of the video, my verdict is pretty clear cut. I very much enjoy the items in this set. I'm pretty pissed off about this lamp, but I think that's just something that needs to be patched. It's annoying though, and I won't be using this lamp. Not until it's fixed, unless it's in a place where it won't matter. I'm actually kind of curious if I put it up a floor, if that would be a problem, but I bet you it would. And yeah, I do very much like this, but it's very expensive. So unless you already have the other set, I can't even really recommend it to you unless you desperately want it. That being said, thanks for hanging out and listening to me while I grump on things. I like this, but once again, the price is pretty unpleasant. I want to say unpleasant. Sorry, it'll be my euphemism. But the store team, bang up job, guys. This stuff is beautiful. It's beautiful. You did a fantastic job. And the cultural influences pulled in from the different regions of India. I mean, there are more than just the ones listed, but these are some of the major regions. And like the colors and just the design choices and all of that, beautiful. The inlaid woods and the carvings and the shadowing on the buttons and all that, beautiful, fantastic job. I want to give you all kisses, but yeah, it's a little too expensive. But I'm pretty sure that you guys don't necessarily set the price. So I'm saying it like they even watch this. They don't, but that's okay. So yeah. Essentially, that's it for my review. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'm a little behind on my comments. I've been sick. Do not worry. I know a number of you worry when I say I'm sick. I'm fine. I promise. But yeah, I will see you in my next video, and thank you all so much. Bye.